Okay, welcome, Sangeeta. The next person that I would like to invite is Unnati Gajar, and she's from Sears. Again, another Indian brand that's been built out of India, built in India, for India, then created the playbook, took it global, and they're by far probably the largest partner of Google Cloud's services across Asia Pacific. No, for sure, not if not global.
Partner of the Year award here and there, everywhere, but we are the largest.
Which is awesome. So it shows how a services plus product, because they have a combination of products and services, by the way, and both they've been able to take global. And again, she manages it across regions, so super complex, and then a mix of services and product, another level of complexity. So I think she will bring another amazing lens to the whole conversation. And last but not the least, I've got Piyush Mohril. Am I spelling your last name? I forgot. Awesome. With Enchanto, very niche product, again built out of India, focusing on solving problems of automation, again cross regions. Niche becomes, a lot of people, like I said, India, so my life is easy. No, as soon as your product becomes niche, it becomes complex. And then you have to set cultural context of how you sell that product across regions. So I've got these folks who are going to help me answer what does this really look like. I'm going to use a few of the questions that I actually drafted for these folks, but I have tried to keep it contextual. I don't mind if you folks think you have a follow-up question based on the question that I asked any one of them, rather than keeping the questions at the other end. Because I realized in the last panel discussion, I forgot thread, because I said, I heard Ritu speak something, I want to ask a question. By the end, I forgot what is the question I had in mind. So if you have a question, feel free to ask these folks also. Sangeeta, I'm going to come to you, right? The fact is that when you are trying to build a product that you want to take to market at scale, and it's a single product in your case, but the fact is that you understand that there are different customer segments, there are different markets. In each of the markets, your product needs to be positioned differently. It could be a combination of what the market really needs or what kind of competition already exists. How has your team been addressing this complexity, especially trying to use any of these, right? Especially AI automation, which is from a tool technology perspective and even an advocacy perspective, to be able to solve for this complexity, either to segment or to really personalize and customize how you position yourself in each of these markets. I would love you to double click on that. Give us an example, and I think that will be super useful.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, thank you for staying for a session. So my team across different geographies, one thing that we do is marry the regional context and the central data that we have from the digital sources. So the way we use it varies from region to region and country to country. For example, when we go into EU, we have to be super conscious of GDPR, and the sales cycles are longer. The whole market maturity is at a very different level. And we have to focus on differentiation and the value proposition versus when we are at a market like UAE or Indonesia. There, the market is rapidly changing. And in Indonesia, in Philippines, we need to localize content super fast. So for us, in terms of, first I will go on the AI automation piece, is how we are able to fast track these translations, which we used to wait for agencies to give to us, and we used to, by the time we get the content back, then already the data is saying something else. So now this is super fast. My team who are on the field, they can do it on their own using various tools. So that is one piece that has helped us in terms of AI automation. In terms of advocacy, the community plays a very important role, especially in places when it's where they don't know CleverTap as much as in other markets. For example, in Europe, when we are entering, the community aspect helps us in long-term demand creation. So while on the east side of it, we are doing more demand capture, here we establish the community aspect becomes, or the advocacy becomes super, super important for the long-term demand creation. So yeah, I think the fast tracking of work, the transcription, the translation, the workflows, all of those are, has helped us in different ways to serve different markets at a much better scale and faster scale.
Thank you, Sugita. I was going to have a follow-up, but I'm going to put that follow-up on Unnati, right? You have services. Your services mean different to different customers. For example, a traditional large business, okay, that you're probably selling to would probably a first-time adopter of, say, a AI solution or a cloud solution versus, and they want to consume it for themselves versus a startup, a digital native that you're probably selling to, who wants to use this to be able to build a product that they can take to market globally. Same service means different things and enables different things. How have you been trying to solve to this customization and personalization, right? That's product, the same thing, nuance changes slightly, not a lot. In this, it's like two complete different extremes. How have you been able to solve, as in you and your team have been both thinking, operating, still some challenges that you're probably trying to address? How have you been able to trying to bridge this gap?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
It's not on.
Yeah, so interesting question, and this is a struggle that most of us as services or services marketeers face, saying that at the end of the day, we are selling services which are very similar to what my competitor is selling. And how do I stand out? And how do I also stand out when it comes to SaaS products, okay? So I think relevance is what is needed. It could be the same service that a giant of, let's say, $350 billion is using versus a small startup with 350 people is using. It's the application and the relevance of those services. Let me explain over here, saying that when we start having a narrative built out for AI, we're speaking with a giant who has tried out different ways of implementing AI in their business. So we go out and say, listen, we know you've done AI, and now we know that you are in an AI POC fatigue. You've reached a stage where you're stuck and you don't know how do you move forward. So our consulting would be different. Our expertise come at a different stage of adaptation. Whereas with a startup who's very excited, very nimble to move, that's very important, we would go out and talk about the application of it, saying that let's reduce the security overheads, or let's talk about risk assessments. And that's going to impact your smaller organization at much larger scale as compared to somebody who's built out security infrastructure for over 10 years now. So I think it's the context that we have to build out as marketeers. It's the narrative that we have to build out around the services.
But how are you managing this complexity?
So what we have done as an organization, and we've been talking a lot about connections and understanding the humans, I think it is also very important for us to understand who we are as a brand, as seers. And in the world of AI and autonomous or autonomy, we are going to face a huge problem about being authentic to yourself, knowing who you are. And that's where we sat down on a one fine day saying, let's not do any more campaigns. Let's just figure out what do we want to sell? What are our key areas? And we realized there are these 3 areas where we have a narrative. We know there is a need in our audience, and we know there is a growth in it. So these are the 3 narratives that we built out, and this is the global narrative that we have. Now it has moved into local campaigns, local marketing campaigns, and this is where the local aspects come out, where our Philippines team would sit down and do translations, where in India we would do more events versus in US you'll end up doing webinars. Whereas you go out and talk to a CMO in India versus in US, you'll have to go out and talk to a chief medical officer if you're talking to a hospital. Whereas in India, there is still a chief marketing officer who would handle those queries for a hospital in India. So I think coming back to the original piece, saying how do you ensure that you're talking relevant narratives in AI and autonomous generation is all coming down to how do you be very authentic to yourself and build out that relevance.
I'm going to, because it's about being authentic, a lot of it is around messaging, especially when you look at B2B marketing, a lot of it is actually content. Okay, be it customizing for different customer segments or regions, be it differentiating between what it means to this customer versus that customer. There's a lot of effort that has to be put in content. And with AI and technology in general, it seems like you do so much more. You have led content and for a long time at Enchanto and building it from scratch. The biggest challenge that I see with content is it's very easy to get excited and start doing a bunch of things because you believe that you want to be able to sell to this person or this customer, that customer, and so on and so forth. But being consistent so that over a period of time you can win their trust, which is the core aspect of marketing, right? As in, can you associate trust with your brand along with your customer is the important challenge. How have you tried to solve that? And how is AI and automation in any way changing or enabling a lot of that?
Right. Thank you so much, Sujit. And first of all, thank you so much. And also thank you for doing this kind of panel because now it doesn't feel like a panel. It feels like a marketers in a room just discussing amongst themselves.
You can actually go and stand there and also talk by
So I think, in your question, I think you were talking about how we are doing more. But I think, my perspective, AI is what is helping us to do less nowadays. And by that, what I mean is fewer initiatives. Talking about the central regional aspect, I think Sangeeta and Unnati were also talking about it. For us, before automation, what comes is people and processes. So you cannot put automation on chaos, is what I feel. Because it's like, if for an example, if you just did a company rebranding and if you just distributed the assets without proper documentation, in 15 days you will see LinkedIn filled with these messy designs of your branding that sort of is everywhere. It's a nightmare. That? Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. So it is very important to fix the traditional process people who does what first. So take a very hard look on who owns what, how does the process work, and then you enable automation. So if you're talking about messaging, if it's a global messaging versus regional messaging, how do you have the coherency aspect? So I'll give you a very execution sort of example on how do we do it at Enchanto. So for any campaigns that we run or any, if it's a website messaging, any campaign or anything absolutely, we have two documents. One is a global brief and the second one is a regional brief. So the global brief is curated by the central team, which sort of consists the soul of the campaign or the messaging or what is going out, which is then distributed to the marketing anchor of that particular region, who then takes in the GTM in the factor, and then passes on to the localization or translation agency or people that are working on it. What it ensures is the soul of the messaging remains. The local aspect gets added to it, and then it is passed on to the local.
Who checks if the soul is still there or not after the translation?
So that's why I think for us, it's not central marketing and regional marketing. It's three-tiered. So there is central marketing, then there is regional marketing, which is still marketing of the company, which is then tied to the localization or translation element. So this marketing is sort of the pillar. The regional marketing sits in the between of the central and the localization aspect, which then makes sure that the automation has this human element in it.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm going to go to Sangeeta from here, right? Is you folks actually enable huge brands, okay, to be able to drive customer engagement, retention at scale, okay? And as soon as you talk about engagement and retention, there are some fundamental things that remain the same whether you're a B2C brand or B2B brand. Most of your customers are B2C. But what parts of those principles have you brought in? And I'm actually wanting to dive down into how are we using or thinking of using AI automation to be able to actually establish or prove the ROI that marketing is able to enable, either to accelerate the ROI conversation or to prove that we are able to bring ROI to the. What principles or frameworks are you using from your core product into how you do marketing of your product into the market, which is driving, and since you largely drive the demand generation part of it and demand capture part of it, the top line and the pipeline part of it when you're engaging with business. And if you can cite an example, that will again be great. What pieces you have, and some you may have deployed, some you may still be thinking of deploying. Like it's taken me 12 months to even analyze all the options available in the market, and I realized by the time I came to the fourth quarter, which is the last few months, the tool sets have changed or have got upgraded, and there's a completely new set of capability available. And then you don't know whether I should go and redraw and do POC fatigue is what you called, right? I am experiencing POC fatigue. So, but how are you thinking and solving for this at CleverTap?
So the essence of this customer engagement or retention is also to know when not to send a notification. Because in a lot of sectors that we operate in, for example, healthcare, right? And I was talking to a CMO of the largest healthcare brand in India, and he was saying that our most important factor is when not to engage. So that is something. So again, relevance, timing, and that is what we take from our brand and bring it to our marketing function. Now, how do we have different tools. We use a few AI tools to capture the intent signals to see that who is engaging with us, what is the intent, what's the lead scoring. And with all of that, when it is multi-channel, we look at the inbound, for example. If I take an example, right, it has come through an inbound, and then we are seeing that there are folks from this organization who are going to the pricing page, who are going to product page, but what happens is that they go cold also sometimes after that. So what do you do? So with all of these data, then what we engage with them through field activities as well, field activation. And that is something which I feel that, with all of this AI, etc., that human connection is so very important. And I have seen so many cases where when something comes digitally, where internet signal is probably either not there and they are coming to our event and they are getting activated, or the signal is very high and there is no interest. So I think still that's why the human connection will always matter. But to come to your point of that is how we are using the core principles of how to make the engagement, how to make the communication more relevant. Then we run email nurtures to these different buying centers. And after that, of course, there's a campaign ID that is attached to these, either the email campaign or if the lead is sourced from the PPC or organic, because then we will, even with multi-touch, we still attribute it to the source campaign, right? Because that is where we
That's
get
what you folks have decided, that it will always be attributed to the source?
Yes, while we also track influence. We do track influence because otherwise it is hard to justify all the channels where we invest, for example, events or PPC or outbound calling and so on and so forth, if that is through an agency. But yes, we have decided that we will attribute it to the source, and then we will still capture the multiple sources that have influence to get to that journey. And not only, it doesn't stop only at the opportunity creation level or the pipeline level, we track it all the way to the revenue. Like even after creating that opportunity, what all sources did it take for that deal to become a closed one? So yeah, it's mainly the essence of what the brand stands for is right channel, right message, right time. So
I picked up timing. You know what? I've never thought of timing, by the way, when I am doing my market outreach. Outreach is what I just realized. It didn't strike me. So I picked that up from that conversation. I'm going to come to you, Piyush. Content, super tough to solve for, right? And you put it out there. You put blood, sweat, time, and probably hassled tons of people internally, externally to build that content out. You put that out. And forever it has been the biggest challenge for content to be able to attribute back to revenue and sales, pipeline, because it seems like it's floating out in nether. Someone reads, something happens, they come through some other channel and converts. Has anything changed in your world, especially with the kind of AI and automation that is available for you to be able to figure out, can you not just create great content and put it out there, but be also attributed back to business? So business says this is an important component or pillar of how we will market and talk to our constituents. Has it really changed, or are you thinking of changing it based on what's available now?
Yeah. So suddenly I'm in my quarterly business reviews, it feels. Because this is a question that I've been answering, I think, for 8 years. What is the ROI of your content, right?
It is.
And I think we're talking about attribution, right, for this. I am very sure from that laughter that if there was a magic wand each one of us had that could fix one problem in marketing, it would be attribution. Yes. Right? Yeah. Because, I mean, we could build multi-touch point, complicated attribution models.
See, but look at this, right?
Yeah.
Someone like Sangeeta Unnati, who manages everything marketing, they only have to report at the top, right? And then someone who leads content, it's like one bucket somewhere.
Right.
For them, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, everything is in this family.
Correct.
For if someone like you who's leading content, I know you may be doing more than content, but how do you solve that?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that that's a very valid point. And I think there are, I mean, to give you a very short and crisp answer, there are two things to, this attribution. So there is hard data and soft signals is what sort of matters at the end of the day. So what does that mean is with hard data, what I mean is with AI, we have stopped thinking about content as such. We have stopped thinking about production as such, but we are only now thinking about campaigns to run. So everything, I mean, it's not the medium, it's not a guide, it's not a blog, it's not a social post, it's not channel. It's always only campaigns from an organic perspective. And how this campaign matters is whenever you have, and the campaigns are run by topics. So let's say you have a topic to run for this month. So this is the month where you are going to activate every content piece, every channel, everything around this. And now this is tied to your CRM. For example, just in our Q2, what I was analyzing in my report, so we had this one campaign that we run for D2C brands. There were 300 white paper downloads, 40 plus relevant downloads out of it, and 7 active opportunities on this campaign, which is direct revenue attribution. If you could have a scoring system in your CRM, you will have hard data to have your content related to pipeline.
Scoring systems कभी चलता नहीं है.
It does.
No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
it's
I'm genuinely pushing you there. Please.
Sure.
The content I'm talking about is using a campaign in a very structured way.
Yeah.
I'm looking when I create a content to be used 50 times, not just in my campaign, because then I'm restricting the content usage. Now we're talking about attribution, it's a problem everybody has. I'm saying is if the content was used by a sales to do the final closure, if it was done by an account owner to kind of mine deeper, if it was used by a pre-sales guy to actually build in proof points, how are we measuring it? So content by nature, according to me, and kind of holding it true to myself, and if there is a correction, I'm very happy to do it, is that content in itself has to be maybe given certain brownie points. So it cannot be just measured by hard data, because then I'm also trying to restrict the content कि ये content अगर date के पीछे नहीं है, इसको कोई form fill नहीं करेगा, कोई use नहीं करेगा.
Correct.
I mean, I may probably do it 15 days, like I released an industry paper. I have not given it away to people, but I want to because it will
Right.
its context pretty soon, and it has a life of its own. Unlike previous time, like content papers created a white paper, एक साल चलता है, अभी नहीं
It's
चलता.
2010, yeah.
I mean, it was probably 10 years ago when I used to be very proud one white paper created. Today, probably I want to create 5.
Right.
Each of it may not even talk about what it should talk about. So content gets old. So I am kind of debating, and I don't know if there is another answer from the entire forum, but I look at content, and content is one of my functions that gets thrown money on. That
Yeah.
is where I come to when I do all my QBRs and whatever hours you have to do.
Yeah, so I can share, but he's actually the expert. I'm not the expert. You want to go first, and
Yeah.
I'll probably add a couple of
So,
points.
I mean, you are very right. I think there is also the context of sales cycles in the organization. For Enchanto, for the context of Enchanto, we have a sales cycle of 6 months to 18 months, which is very different. So, content is not just used for a download, which sort of gets a contact in the CRM, but it's used for nurture, used by sales, and lot many touch points than that. So I completely agree with you. That's why when I talk about the scoring system, white papers do have a scoring to their own, but so do have blogs, so do have all the interactions on the website that they have. The scoring is, of course, done in a way where everything matters at the end of the day. And that is just one part of the story. That's why I said one is hard data, but second is soft signal. What I mean by that is, for example, our LinkedIn has 100K followers and all have been accumulated organically. Now, this is super hard to attribute. I mean, tomorrow if we sign a $50K dollar deal, there is absolutely no way we can say that LinkedIn played a role or why we should put efforts in LinkedIn. But during the QBRs, when all these different APAC and EU sales teams, they come to the table and they share with the CEO that, I mean, this 100K is sort of making us look good everywhere. And when this comes across again and again, everybody knows. So that's why it's hard data plus soft signal, both mattering at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll share a couple of my experiences, Ritu. One is, and this was in the previous organization, it didn't work by the way, but I'm still telling you what I tried to do. And I think it was more a tooling problem statement, as in technology tooling and capability problem statement. So I standardized everything on HubSpot, okay? The core CMS, Content Hub, Sales Marketing Hub, even the Service and Support Hub, everything in one platform. And our content would get generated, repurposed, and made available only on the CMS, both to publish on external marketing or earned media or own media, as well as making available to sales folks. So whenever they would want to share anything, they would click and want to share. But the broken part of the tooling system was tracking. It didn't track. So it still didn't work. While we thought that we will be able to make this work, it didn't. I'll tell you what we are trying to solve now with AI. All our knowledge bases, including all the assets that we built for marketing, etc., while it will be published on marketing-owned channels, for sales, everything is made available via a simple AI bot. Every time they query and they use it, okay, for me it is that the content got pinged for something. So that's a way that I actually use that. Of the 20 pieces of content that we have generated in the last 12 months now, which was customer facing, how many times did it actually get pinged based on queries that the sales folks are using? Okay, we are going to go to that level, and because you can't track, as in I still don't have the system which says that every time something gets sent out, can we track? There are, and there are tools available, but super expensive, and for an organization our size, we are still building. I don't think so we can afford like things like common room, etc., where you actually create sales. What are they called? Sales common rooms or something, as where this customer and your teams both work together on deals, etc. Super expensive. Yeah, there are multiple brands, but common room comes to mind immediately. Tools like those, but super expensive for you to go and invest in right away.
2 points, and I don't want to beat this to death because it's a problem. Because every function that according to me gets measured. This function, as well as the creative function, becomes like something that
Why do you want to measure creative?
You have to. When you so you have people leading the function, they also want to feel valued. So when you look at it from their lens, everybody, so demand guy comes up and says, "Maine itna revenue contribute kiya, whatever top line kiya, order."
That happens at the campaign level, right?
So everybody, when they come and report into a function, like when you do the function meeting, everybody has that number to say. While the rest of these people who are actually the backbone and everything have nothing to say. So how do you goes there? So two problems when you said that. There is another tool called as Paperflight, and probably 50 other tools exist like that. I tried to do with that in the past. We put it on Paperflight sales. Second thing is, salesperson will download from it, and we put it on the email and send it out. I know Jolly is a past, but she's a past sales guy. Hoping there is another salesperson sitting here. Salesperson hates to attribute their win to anyone else. Yeah, absolutely. If you have something else,
Hence the magic wand.
they hate it. And for fair reasons, because the incentives are tight. Come on, at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. So even if they use that content to close the deal, they're not with them. Unless I have a very good relationship. They tell me offhand, Ritu, by the way, their content was useful. I said, kya kiya? This kiya. I was like, okay, can you say it? Yeah,
दुखती रात पे हाथ रखे हो आप, हम ये डबल क्लिक करेंगे.
I think she had answered that question. She said influenced revenue. I think the main point, if the problem is that the content folks feel that we are not getting attributed, it's more about the agreement within the organization on what should be looked at. Because that's at the end of the day the more practical solution to this problem.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Please.
So even I have content as one of the pillars within my organization, and the way we look at content KPIs is not in terms of revenue, the way we would do for demand generation, but in terms of number of pieces. Because for a content writer, the time that he or she spends on writing and developing content is more important. So we look at that through the numbers KPI, how much content or thought leadership has they contributed to, and also they have an important seat in a lot of our marketing discussions. Like even if we are talking about campaigns, events, even the debrief sessions, they're all part of this discussion because they pick up ideas. And thoughts from that, and they come up with their own ideas and topics to write content on. I think that's how they're contributing, and that's the value that we see from our content.
That's great. And I think,
I have one point additional to
go ahead.
these questions I'm facing on everyone while I'm giving the KRA evaluation to my content, graphics teams, and video teams. How they will be evaluated? Simple questions. So revenue is, every organization is a revenue is the top priority. We have clarified in two. In marketing, what is the brand? What is the part of your revenue, and how the thought leaderships you contribute. So all the graphic designer who contributed in three ways, we have a measurement system. Suppose any content from which media to where it will go, either it go to social media or it go to the media, different types of media. What is the importance and what is the metrics they are taking? So if it is a greater engagement, the person will be judged, your content or your design or your video will be judged by the customer better engagement. So we have to give what is their engagement ratio. If the engagement ratio is good, he or she gets better weighted. If not, he has to improve this. And we have conveyed this management. Please look the revenue, KRA, KPI in terms not only the revenue, even the campaign, the content, poster, major, the videos, what we have produced, that is a major role. If the campaign is successful, so we have a ratio. What will be the ratio to the content, what will be the ratio to this, and what is the SCM?
Yeah, but that's specifics. As in, I don't want to deviate. I want to come back. I want to actually come back to Unnati. There's only one point, and we can take this offline. What's helped me having internal conversations on attribution is, don't talk about attribution to pipeline and a deal and so on and so forth, but elevate it higher up. When you actually go and measure and do this, deals where you have no ability to put any kind of attribution, influence attribution, source attribution, what's the CAC, the cost of acquisition of that customer, okay, over a period of time, what is the cost of acquisition for those kind of deals, and the CAC for deals where marketing in any form touches. And you will see your CAC will always be lower for marketing touched influence deals. That's the way you influence right at the board level on the fact that why we need to continue influencing or investing in marketing, and not just saying, can I find deal level attribution? So elevate the conversation and you will be able to solve it. Don't go further down because you will get pulled into the muck. Better not to get into the muck. But I want to come to Unnati. And I'm going to come to the advocacy part, right? How big is the organization now?
In terms of people,
Yeah.
Around 3,000 people.
And how many countries, regions?
So we have offices in US, Canada, we say Philippines and Malaysia, which is APAC, Australia, Middle East, and India, a couple of places in India.
Awesome. You folks enable organizations to adopt AI and automation. You are doing it yourself.
Correct.
So let's keep that as table stakes. Let's come to the advocacy part.
Yes.
Especially in an IT services business, the human capital or the talent involved is the most important aspect, right?
Absolutely.
As in services, customers make decision on trusting a brand on the basis of the kind of people that you engage with. And obviously, you can't send all your people to every customer's doorstep saying, go and meet the customer and they will experience who you are. And I know Sears has got a very, very strong culture that Hardik, right from the top, keeps driving, saying that this is how we, what is it? Solvers.
Solvers.
Right? Solvers, right?
Yes.
He's super passionate
Solve
about it, I
differently.
remember.
Yeah.
And but the fact is, how do you solve for ensuring that your human advocates, both existing customers as well as your teams, employees, okay, are able to get the human part out? And how are you thinking of enabling them with technology? Because obviously you have barriers. Like you have an amazing solution architect, okay, but he or she is super shy or will say, I've got a mind block to write. I'm never going to write. But you know that they've got tons of real world experience. How are you taking some initiatives to be able to solve this? And if you can share that, that'll be amazing.
Yeah. So thanks to AI, everything's flipped now. Now everybody thinks he's a content writer.
Which is good.
So it is the other way around. Now my practice person would come and say, listen, this is a service. I have a web page which I have built out on cloud. And let's start selling it. I have done all. Exactly. So now they are no more shy. It's the other way around where we have to tell them to be more authentic rather than using
Then all the
Gemini.
more, I think, so the complexity for us to manage is increased.
Absolutely.
So how are you thinking of solving this?
So coming to the first part about advocacy and why it is so very important, you very rightly said that in a services world, your people are your product. We go out and sell our capabilities through people that we have. And in the space of AI, everything is flipped. Here, we don't have advocacy for anything which is what we are selling today, because they are still ideas. They are still yet to be implemented. So what we have started doing is we have started running something called a solver squad, where we put out the real problems that our sales guys would have come across in their discussions across their sales cycle. And we have kept it open for our practices teams to go out and build out AI agents. And you'll not believe we have a huge library of AI agents beyond the numbers that we can discuss right now. And these AI agents have been turned into demos by us.
Nice.
So this is how we are using advocacy for the sales cycle. Now, in terms of the other piece, which has been an old age problem all marketers face, are building those case studies, putting those customer cases together. It is there in ideas, in conversations, where they will come and tell you but not write an email. They will not want to document. So we have moved these responsibilities to our customer success team, saying
Nice.
you do the case studies now. Because now you have Geminis of the world, you have the templates that we have created, write the case studies, and each of them have KRAs that they have to meet in terms of numbers of case studies that
I
they
like
produce.
the idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Correct. And we know the form in which they will come, but at least we have something documented. Yes. And then we utilize it forward. Having said that, we are in a space which is so dynamic. I'll give you an example. 6 months back, we were an AI-led modern engineering company. Okay. Today,
Now
we are
you're agentic AI.
Today we are AI native engineering company in 6 months. Yeah, so that's how quickly the businesses are changing and our narratives are changing.
You're talking about.
So I don't know if we would have advocacies to give, but we would have to give them directions in which we can help them move. And that's where we'll be able to exhibit the capabilities that we have in our people.
Thanks for double-clicking on both the problem statement and how you're doing some of the things. Sangeeta, I'm going to come to you, right? You spoke about the human handover from a sales perspective, etc. I think with AI, the one thing that we all can agree as marketers is a lot of our generic messaging shit, okay, is taken care of. Do you feel and see, and are you already able to implement this where you and your team are able to find more time to figure out and champion the human touch, where you build communities of advocates? Again, I would say both users from your customers' end and as well as your internal folks, right? Because I've seen communities build when I was with brands like Amazon and Google Cloud were built because there were people who had common passion to solve things, and they all spoke the same language. But for that, you need to be able to bring the human touch. You can't do this with AI and automation. Communities don't get built with AI and automation. How are you thinking of this? What are some of the things that you're trying to solve for, especially considering that CleverTap empowers some of the largest brands to engage with customers, their customers at scale, and obviously you have a huge user base in that sense. So what are some of the things you're thinking and trying to do right now around community and advocacy?
Yeah, from the community angle, so the problems statement or what we identified is that CleverTap and the likes of CleverTap, these are the users or the power users. They are the ones who keep moving from one organization to another organization. So if we can train them, if we can certify them, then it adds to their resume. And when they go to another organization where they are probably, looking at other engagement tools, and this person comes in and says that I'm CleverTap certified, I know how to use it. Automatically CleverTap gets implemented there or influences. So we have seen many cases. So this is one thing that we identified when we were thinking, because again, a very demand gen ROI mindset, whenever something is long term, we start thinking, is it really worth doing? So we had to identify why we needed to do and why is it urgent or why is it important. So that was something that we identified. So the way we went about it is complete customer mapping of L1, L2s, L3s, and the health of the account. Where are the champions, are the detractors, and within maybe a green account, we have a detractor. Maybe within a red account, we have a champion. So that whole mapping of all of our customers, then we created different programs. So there is one thing that we do as called the CleverTap Engagement Lab, which is a workshop format, where we bring in, it's only for practitioners. We don't want any CXOs, we don't want any VPs. We want only the people who are going to use the tool on a day in, day out basis. And we give them certificates at the end of that workshop. So, and then we also identified within our customer base who are the influencers whom these practitioners would love to hear. And we, for example, Swiggy's VP of product, we brought him in, and it was just a case study that he presented. It was nothing about CleverTap. It's about how do you really build the product, what, and then, of course, subtly how engagement comes into the picture. So these are certain things that we have started doing. What we want to do more, and we are currently building on it, is I spoke to, again, a few practitioners where they told that, and our prospects face it, our sales team face it, that certain integrations are missing. And he told that I have figured a way out on how this can work with CleverTap, and I can help you do videos. So we have identified, or in the process of identifying more of those people who are super enthusiastic, they're passionate about what they do, and they are going to help create those videos, and we are going to source it from our customer base and put it on our YouTube channel where sales can use it, our existing customer base can use it, and there is, of course, a community that way that forms. And then, again, I always come to it, again, gives more business. Because what was stopping sales from selling that, somebody else from the community is solving, and that colleague probably, this person probably knows the other person in that company, and they influence the deal, and it becomes a larger business impact. So this is how we are building it, the whole community aspect.
That's super cool. As in actually getting the user community to help you solve and tell others how they solved it is probably the most powerful way to actually drive advocacy. And I think we have touched parts of it here, Piyush, but content, right? Like Unnati mentioned, अब तो सब लोग content लिख सकते हैं. आपकी ज़रूरत क्या है? आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो? Jokes apart, my point was, how is it helping you and team to be able to get to that high value content? And I'll tell you what I'm trying to get at here also. What was high value before and what is high value now, that context and perspective has also changed, including every piece of content out there being looked at with a lens saying that AI ने लिखा है या human ने लिखा है, इसमें insight कहाँ है करके. I was speaking with someone. Who was I speaking with? Sanchari only. I think I was speaking earlier. How are you solving this? Do you think it enables you to solve this, where a lot of the grunt work is now taken care by AI-enabled automation for you from a content perspective, and it gives you time to now, let's focus on the good shit that we could actually put out there?
Right. So one thing that is we are not doing with AI is generate ideas for content and create content with
Awesome.
AI.
Okay.
So the thing is, it has changed. So the way we are using AI is more for efficiency and distribution, but not for creation at all. A lot of people ask us, like, how do you create thought leadership content? We do not. There is no way our content team in their offices doing online research can create any thought leadership content. It's
Where do
very
you-
simple. Sorry.
Tell us where to create the ideas from. by the
Right.
way.
So if, let's say, I had to create a thought leadership content on human-centric marketing, I would just take the notes of the previous panel, and that would be a real thought leadership content. This is what we do. And you know what we are right now? We are our content people for Kushagra right now. We are creating this content.
He's not in the room though.
He's not in the room.
Is he there? Oh, he's there.
So we are, I mean, creating thought leadership right now, and probably this will be used. And this is what we do. We make, I mean, our content team is now focusing on making our CEO sit with a retail leader, or just making our CMO sit with the CRO, so that they can have a conversation and we can just pick from it, which is the real thought leadership. And now AI comes in the picture, where we take this real insights of 2 discussions or 3 discussions or whatever, and then this conversation gets into, it's like fed into AI. So now you have 2 blogs, 5 social posts, 1 YouTube episode, whatever. So this is how then it can scale. There is no absolutely way where content people can sit and create this, So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I'm going to now go to building core marketing organizations. Oh, please. Please.
I'm not taking my company name, or it might start looking like I'm selling.
That's
I
okay.
have
We
lot
always are
of
selling.
things to talk about
Basically,
advocacy. So let's look at advocacy. I'm just adding few thoughts for you. Okay, advocacy can be internal, external. Internal, you have tools like Hootsuite, hundreds of them, right? Employee advocacy tools. When it comes to external, what Hootsuite does makes it very simple for you to build the content. Then
Hootsuite
she
is very
sends a
complex,
message.
by the way.
Yeah.
Hootsuite is very complex, by the way. But
As
yeah,
a
go ahead.
platform, it may be complex. So far, what we have been discussing, think about the situation. Sujit is a great author. He writes a great book. Now, the book is written in, we do so many things on the book. But at the end of the day, it's a book. That book needs distribution, right? So you are going to a shop where the book is getting sold. With AI, content generation has become somewhat easy, let's say, right? But for distribution, you are still stuck with that bookstore. You have email, you have ads, or you have employee advocacy. Do you guys feel stuck somewhere,
Always.
right? Is there any other option? Just think through it. Now, for external advocacy, imagine there are 50 folks sitting here. If tomorrow we go and post on LinkedIn, Sujit had a great session. These are the key learning areas from that session. What happens? We all are marketers, right? If you look at your own marketing LinkedIn network, 80-90% of your LinkedIn network would be for marketing,
Yes.
right? If Sujit goes and if Jolie goes and says that Sujit is a great moderator of a session, it reaches the right set of audience, right? Now, why it is not happening today? Kushagra Sharma didn't ask anybody to talk about Sujit. Number 2, even if Kushagra asks, it's too much for everybody here to think what to write about Sujit. Problem number 3, even if I take the time to think and write about Sujit, there is no incentive for me. That's one way of solving the problem, is somebody gamifies the whole journey, right? Kush is using something like that in the session today. Let's also look at, so the core objective here, from advocacy, we are, during the discussion of advocacy, we are going back to the content. Advocacy as a topic is not being discussed much.
It is. So advocacy is a topic by itself. So right now, for example, in our conversation, and I thank you for bringing that up, we're not trying to get into the core of advocacy, right? We're trying to bring advocacy and advocacy in the context of our conversation is the human touch part of building trust. What is happening with AI and automation, and I think AI-enabled automation is overwhelming us, and we believe that, boss, let's focus on that. In fact, I believe go backwards. I think someone spoke about, made a point, right? I think Jolly made a point, email kaam nahi karta. I'm telling you, don't abuse the digital channels beyond what you're already doing. Frankly, go backwards, take a step backwards. I am a fan of, can I go back to the physical world? Because I want people to be able to breathe and take the time to understand, okay, why should I even engage with this product or brand? And not overwhelm this, right? आप Instagram reel देख रहे हो, आप अपना email box खोल रहे हो, I'm there everywhere popping up. And that's where the timing part I loved. Okay, I don't think of timing. When will this user be really in the mindset to even look and think of us? I'm touching more on that part, but advocacy is a completely different ball game by itself. So
From my platform, just to give you a hint, if you're doing email marketing today, you are seeing 2% conversion rate, click to conversion.
yeah,
If you are doing PPC today, 1.3 to 1.7% conversion, if you're getting is great, right?
depends on market context, but yeah.
B2B, right? Somewhat around that line, 5%, more than 10%. Click to conversion. For my campaign, all the campaigns that we run, we see 26 to 48% conversion rate, click to conversion rate.
So we should talk.
Advocacy works.
We will talk to you. You didn't call out your name.
Leave it. My name is Roy.
You can find Roy. I'm going to touch upon the same thing, the tech part, right? As we build. Okay. Okay, thank you for, so she is positioned you.
I just want to add one more thing to that piece. What we have also done in events is use this AI tool where you can take a photo. Your photos are taken right now. Our photos are taken, and there is this ready copy and a link that is sent to all attendees. When you log in with your just face, it is going to automatically give you all the photos that were clicked for, like with you in it. And it also gives you a little bit, that 2-3 line of text. And I have seen people posting about our events has gone up significantly. So after every event, now we at least have 10 to 12 posts talking about that event, because nobody has to write the copy. We all love to see ourselves in the photo. So it's automatically, and we can choose quickly from those 5 photos where we are looking good, and they're just posting it, right?
So this keeps on amazing, and that's one of the problem statement I've noticed in India especially, right? When I go back to the Valley, I see they share so openly as a marketing community. In India, we don't. If you just, she gave us an idea right now. If in this room, if everyone just gives one idea, I think we'll be able to bump up our revenue by at least 1 or 2%. Anyways, no, thanks for sharing that. I'm going to touch on the tech part, right? And I spoke about it when I asked the question around DPDP. Everything set. All you folks are like at least a good 8 years, if not more. Sears is, I know, long. CleverTap has been what, 15 years? 15? 13 years, yeah? Enchanto? 15. So, बहुत time से सब कुछ है. Core platform, CRM, automation around it, invested. Then comes ChatGPT, changes what can happen. Everyone thinks there is a magic wand available with AI. Plethora of tools out there. POC fatigue, I give you my example. How are you folks thinking of building the stack or breaking the stack and saying we're going to throw away all of this? Is this a discussion even internally? And I would want to start with you, Unnati. It's the same question to all three, by the way. You're building it for other businesses and telling them throw away everything, we will help you build it
Exactly where we got stuck now. So we started with this journey where we were trying out and having preferences for different AI tools for different purposes. We knew ChatGPT has better content writing capabilities than Gemini. We knew how we want to use notebook LLMs. But being the Google partner, now we cannot use those tools. So we're using only Gemini because we need to ensure that data privacy comes in, where we don't want other AI tools to learn more about us. So we're using all Google tools now on. So that decision has been made where we are not at a liberty. But personally speaking,
But are you keeping the core that you built over the years the same and then putting layers on top, or you're thinking of, you know what, I could do, for example, de-anonymization so much better. Okay, I heard you using factors, they're using AI, but I think there's so much more that is possible. But remove that out and I'm going to bring something else in. Are you thinking of doing things like those is my question.
I think, Sujit, everybody is on the same journey. While we are ourselves looking for answers, HubSpot and all our Salesforce are also evolving. They have added new plugins. They have added a lot of AI capabilities. So while they are evolving, we are solving problems, but probably not for a permanent solution. We are looking for short-term solutions because we know there's much more which is coming. I
Interesting.
mean, that's how we see it so far.
Sangeeta?
So one thing that I'm personally doing is really validating, is it going to move the needle? Is it going to make a difference? How is it? Is it going to save me time? Is it going to change the way we do things for better? So because every other day there is an email that comes saying that this is a tool and this is how it is going to help you.
Do you have a disqualification criteria, as in how do you say, should I even talk to these folks or not, and check?
Yes, I do. It depends on how the email is written. So,
Okay.
so good email always works. So yeah, the way the tech integration I'm looking at it is that, again, AI is going to give us a lot of intelligent intelligence, right? It's not going to give us insights or analytics ready. So what is it going to make me, what today my team is doing manually, all the slicing and dicing and trying to figure it out, what's the tech that is going to make it so simple, where today when we are planning for AOP, that which vertical, which segment, which country should I invest? So that is the kind of thing that I'm, like from my perspective, I look at. And without breaking anything that we have, like Salesforce, Drivetrain, HubSpot, all of that, how can it seamlessly integrate and without making much noise? Because every time there's a new tool, suddenly either the data is wrong or something is not working, or don't look at it before March of this year. All of these happens, right? So that is how I'm looking at it, like something that's.
Or you?
Can I just add to that? So we have this concept called AI readiness. So I think we are in that phase where we are getting everything ready and looking out and seeing that, is this an AI solvable problem? Yeah, I think probably that's where we are. And
So, so for an organization like Sears, because I think inherently it's in your DNA to understand what does it take for AI to be
Solve it.
successfully deployed.
yeah.
But for a lot of other organizations, that will not even culturally exist in the DNA. And like I said, we sell a AI cloud platform to customers, and I'm telling you, 95% of the customers think of AI as a magic wand. Okay? Because they've heard everything from outside, or they are complete pessimists, saying that हाथ
It
मत
wouldn't
लगाओ इसको.
work. Yeah.
But the question is not what's the right way to do it and what can we really solve and how to solve it the best way possible. That isn't the case. So I think inherently that's a big difference between an organization like Sears and maybe a lot of others in the room, is what I would call it. But thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Piyush?
So for us, I think, as she correctly said, I mean, there are so many new tools that are coming every day. I mean, every day you open an email and you see someone trying to sell you a new, very cool AI software that is coming up. But I think for us, it's not about getting a new shiny tool for everything, every problem. And also for our size and our complexity, we are trying to make it very simple, keep it simple for ourselves as well. So right now, the focus is not to change the marketing stack at all. It's to keep it as is and leverage, as she was saying, HubSpot has its own AI capabilities, Asana has it. All the tools that we are using already do have AI capabilities now. So right now the focus is how do we leverage it at the best. And very honestly, today we would love to have integration. We don't. I mean, that's a very open, honest challenge that I'm sharing here with everyone. I would love to have a marketing stack that is properly integrated with our CRM. We are not at that stage yet. So right now, how we are working is we are still trying to build a layer of integration somehow based on outputs of the systems. So systems are really not talking to each other, but then we are trying somehow to extract data and then make that data layer talk to each other, at least through AI. So that is something that we are doing. It's a challenge. It's something we are working on it. But yeah.
Have you folks seen that this whole AI tooling available or new things coming your way, has it bumped up your marketing tech stack budgets, investments, or no? Because you're still like
Not
around with
at this moment,
No.
as of now.
no tech provider builds anything free, by the way. Awesome. Cool. Let's go to the second question, and this is again building a marketing organization. Has the kind of talent you're thinking of hiring within the team changed? Okay, in our specific skill set that you're trying to. I'll tell you why. As in my case, the one headcount that I'm now looking for is someone who wakes up every single morning and thinks, okay, this is our entire business process. These are all our customer touch points. How can I think of AI-enabled automation across the spread so that I can free up humans to do the human part and not get caught up? Like my sales spending probably 80% of the time doing shitty work rather than talking to customers. I want them to talk to customers, not get caught up in doing shit at the back. So that's a headcount that I'm trying to, and it's a unicorn. I can't find it as yet. I've interviewed multiple folks, and largely kids who have no baggage. They don't care about what your process is. They're only thinking about what could happen. But it's still, are you thinking of changing skill sets that you will hire for going forward? Are you putting a different lens when you're trying to look at talent that you want to hire?
A short answer would be yeah. I mean, someone who is bilingual, who can make decisions out of a dashboard, someone who can have data and empathy both. But that's more like a textbook answer. Really, what I feel is this would sort of be a comeback of 360-degree marketers. I think 5 years or 8 years or 10 years back, we were trying to look for more T-shaped marketers. And I think with this AI and automation, what would come in the picture is 360-degree marketing folks coming back to the priority. So it's a very personal take. It may be completely wrong, but this is what I feel.
Interesting. Anything?
I slightly have a difference of opinion over there. I feel specialization is going to count a lot. But to your question, Sujit, I don't think I'm looking for a different kind of a talent anymore. The core still remains the same. It's more about the frills, saying, have you used these tools? How passionate you are in going out and experimenting. And that's what I think has been a part of a core of a marketeer as well. Saying, how excited do you get when you see something new and go out and venture into it? So I think for me, core doesn't change. Time will tell how AI comes in terms of our literacy. But overall, it will be all how we have been as marketeers.
Yeah, I'm not looking for any specific skills as of now. What I'm looking for is somebody who is open-minded and what you rightly mentioned, no baggage, that I do these things this way, I don't want to explore this. So because today when in my team, somebody is there for say 4 years with CleverTap, the data, the system, the behavior, everything that he or she knows, if you arm that person with a tool that he or she can easily use, I think that is going to probably give more output. At least that is what I'm thinking right now. So somebody who is who can learn that fast, a tool that is easy to use, but who probably knows the system or the company or how our ICP, everything works, is the combination that I would be looking for.
Interesting. We have overrun time, but 20 minutes is what I realized. So I'm going to cut short question, but I'm going to go to the one that I definitely wanted to ask. With everything happening around us, in our customers' universe, in our own universe, with AI-enabled automation, and the fact that bringing in the human aspect to build trust is becoming more and more complex, what, according to you, two things are going to be the most critical for successful brands to be built over the next few years?
I think one is definitely authenticity and probably empathy, because what not to how much not to send out, how much not to, like, again, I'll just give another health tech example. The CMO of Apollo 24/7, and he told me, you know, I asked him what is your North Star metric, and he told our North Star metric is to see how many lives have we saved. So that is something which I feel that as a brand, what is it that you want to, and it is beyond those numbers. So I think the empathy and the authenticity, it's going to stand out in this whole era of automation and artificial intelligence. We need probably real empathy.
Another?
I think authenticity remains the same for me. Being as human as possible is going to make us stand out in the world of AI.
You're going back to the first discussion that was going on.
Yeah. And the other one is absolute relevance. So now you cannot just go and say, I'm going to save your cost. With AI coming in, the breadth of coverage that we have with the research that we are able to do, you would have to be very, very specific and very relevant when you go out and speak to your customer. So I think authenticity and relevance are the two things that will be
Awesome.
important for me.
Piyush, and we'll wrap up.
I think relevancy is common for me, but on the other hand, it's automation. So automation with relevancy is, I think, the balance that would lead to the real advocacy.
See, you're the advocate for AI and automation. But with that, thanks a ton, folks, for listening in. Thank you. I think this was
Thank you so much.
amazingly insightful. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Really appreciate it. Thank you, folks. And sorry, folks, for running over time. You should have put a timer for me somewhere. Time was here. No one told me that the time's up.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sujit. Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you, Unnati. Thank you, Piyush, for an amazing session.
Oh,
We have
bottle
tea,
down.
coffee served at the adjacent room. Please have it. And that's it. Thank you.